Welcome back to the deep dive.
Okay.
We're going to take a deep dive into all this great material you've sent over about relationships.
Right.
You seem especially interested in how routines can really impact a marriage, you know, love and purpose and all of that. You sent in a really interesting episode of the podcast, The Sunshine Inside.
Oh, interesting.
So let's jump right in and see what we can uncover.
Sounds fascinating.
Okay, so I've got a question for you right off the bat.
Okay.
Have you ever felt like your relationship is just kind of on autopilot?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like you're just going through the motions.
It's a common trap,
Yeah.
and the Sunshine Inside podcast actually calls this the routine trap.
Ooh.
And what's interesting here is that routine itself isn't necessarily bad.
Okay.
You know? We need routine. It provides stability.
Right, right.
But the key is mindful routine.
Oh, I like that.
The kind of routine that allows for growth and change within that framework.
Mindful routine. Okay.
Right.
So how do we know then
Right.
if we've fallen into like the mindless kind of routine?
Well, the Sunshine Inside podcast highlights some subtle signs, feeling like you're just going through the motions, communicating more about, you know, logistics than actual connection, and a sense that intimacy isn't as vibrant as it used to be.
Yeah, it's not quite as exciting as it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, beyond those surface signs, it's crucial to understand why, you know, why these routines.
Yeah, why are we doing this? If you don't know why, then how do we fix it?
Exactly. And one of the things that the podcast talks about is this really fascinating point about the differing ways men and women experience and express their needs.
Oh, interesting.
You know, in a relationship.
Okay, so so what are they saying? Are they saying that men and women are different?
Well, they highlight that women often crave the feeling cherished, while men tend to prioritize respect and a sense of unity.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder,
you
know, how much of this is hardwired and how much of this is shaped by the roles that we're taught to play.
Right, and how do societal expectations often reinforced by, you know, media portrayals of these perfect relationships?
Yeah.
How does that all play into this?
Great.
Right.
Yeah, right. So...
And then it makes it harder to communicate our true needs and desires.
Yeah. It's like we've got all these competing needs playing out against this backdrop of societal expectations.
Right.
No wonder some couples feel lost.
Totally.
But where does the Sunshine Inside podcast go from here?
Well, this is where it gets really intriguing.
Oh, good.
They take a what you might call a divine angle by focusing on marriage as a sacred covenant.
Wait, hold on. So they're saying that disagreements can be sacred?
It's not really about the disagreements. It's the idea that marriage isn't merely a legal contract, but a spiritual bond, a commitment made before a higher power. And it emphasizes that this covenant isn't just about individual happiness, but about living a life that honors that commitment together.
Okay. So it's a different way of looking at it.
Right.
But how does this idea of a sacred covenant play out in practical terms?
Well, the podcast uses this beautiful quote from Psalm 34.5.
Okay.
When we turn our eyes to him, we are radiant with joy.
Ooh.
This idea of love reflecting divine light.
But when it's rooted in faith.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
So how do we make that happen?
Well, they offer 4 key steps to break free from this routine trap and reconnect with that deeper sense of purpose.
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1. Sanctifying the marriage. 2. Forgiveness. 3. Perseverance.
Gotcha.
And 4. Creating what they call sacred moments.
All right, let's dive into those.
Okay.
So what does it mean to sanctify a marriage?
So sanctifying the marriage is about intentionally inviting that higher purpose into the relationship. They suggest things like praying together, studying scripture, or even just creating quiet moments for reflection on your faith and how it connects to your love.
So it's like building that spiritual foundation together?
Exactly.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
But what about forgiveness? That can be a real hurdle for couples.
Especially if there's a lot of baggage.
A lot of hurt.
Yeah, hurt in the past.
And the Sunshine Inside podcast acknowledges that forgiveness isn't easy.
No, it's not.
It's not about saying, what happened was okay.
Right.
But it's essential for breaking free from those negative patterns that keep us stuck in the routine trap.
Yeah, okay.
And they even quote Matthew 6.15, which says that if we don't forgive others, we won't be forgiven ourselves.
Oh, that's powerful.
It's a reminder that holding on to anger or resentment ultimately hurts us.
Yeah, more than anyone else.
More than anyone else.
Okay.
It's not about condoning hurtful actions, but choosing to release yourself from the burden of that resentment.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got sanctifying the marriage and forgiveness.
Right.
What's next?
The next step is perseverance.
Okay.
And the podcast uses this great quote from Proverbs 18.9. He who is slack in his work is brother to him who destroys.
Oh, wow.
It's a call to action, reminding us that love takes work.
It does.
And we can't just give up when things get tough.
Oh, I needed to hear that. We live in a culture that really glorifies, the easy, effortless love.
The effortless kind of love.
Yeah. And that's not real.
But real love
is work.
It's about showing up.
Yes.
And putting in the effort.
Day after day.
Day after day.
Okay, so?
That leads us to the final step.
Good.
Creating sacred moments.
Okay.
It's about being intentional about setting aside quality time for each other.
Okay.
Whether it's a weekly date night, a simple walk after dinner, or even just 15 minutes before bed to truly connect without distractions.
You know, it's so easy to let those special moments just slip away.
It is.
Before you know it, you're just ships passing in the night.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me paint a picture.
Okay.
Imagine a couple.
Okay.
They've been together for years. They're both juggling work, kids.
All the demands.
All the demands of life.
Yep.
And they've fallen into a bit of a rut.
Okay.
But instead of scrolling through their phones at night, they decide to try this creating sacred moments idea.
Right.
They put their phones away and they just talk. They reminisce about their first date or share dreams for the future.
I love that.
It doesn't have to be anything extravagant.
Right.
But that intentional connection can make all the difference.
It's like hitting the reset button.
Exactly.
On your relationship.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
we've got these 4 steps.
Yeah.
Sanctifying the marriage, forgiveness, perseverance, and creating sacred moments.
Creating those sacred moments.
Yeah.
It really does feel like
it does.
A roadmap.
Like a recipe.
A recipe, yeah.
Rekindling that spark.
And what's brilliant is how the Sunshine Inside podcast connects these practical steps to the bigger picture of a God-centered marriage.
Yes, they mentioned something about God adding no sorrow to a life enriched by his blessings.
Yes.
Do you remember the exact quote?
It was from Proverbs 10.22.
Okay.
The blessing of the Lord enriches, and he adds no sorrow to it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is.
It makes you think about aligning your relationship with a higher purpose.
Absolutely.
And how that can bring so much peace, even amidst all the challenges of life.
Yeah. Relationships are meant to be a source of joy, support, and enduring love.
I love that.
Even when routines settle in, there's always a path back
to
connection and purpose.
Such a hopeful message.
It is.
Before we wrap up, I'm curious to know what resonates most with you personally.
Oh, let me think.
For me, it's definitely the sacred moments thing.
Yeah, me too.
It's such a simple idea.
It is.
But it's so easy to forget.
Oh, it really is.
You know, in the day-to-day, I think that's where so many couples get tripped up.
Right.
They let those small but really important connections slip away, and then they wonder.
Yeah, where'd it go?
Yeah, where'd the spark go?
It's all about intentionality.
Yes.
Choosing to make time
to
connect.
Even when you're tired.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, the grass is greener where you water it. Well, love is brighter where you nurture it.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And forgiveness is a big part of that, too.
It is.
I know I'm always working on that. You know,
my own life.
In my own relationships.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really hard.
It's not easy.
To let go of past hurts.
No.
But that idea that forgiveness is really for our own benefit, that really stuck with me.
Right. Yeah. It frees you up.
Yeah.
To love more fully.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We talked about recognizing that routine trap, understanding
that's different needs.
Those different needs.
Yeah.
This whole idea of a sacred covenant and these practical steps to rekindle the flame?
It's a lot.
What's the one thing you want our listener to walk away with?
I think it's that even when routines become, really ingrained, there's always a way back to connection and purpose.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
It's a path paved with intentionality, forgiveness, perseverance, and those really precious moments of shared joy and intimacy.
Absolutely.
So true.
Before we go, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
What if, instead of seeing routine as the enemy, we saw it as like a canvas for our love story?
I love that.
Yeah. Instead of, how can we make routine work for us?
How can we make it an opportunity?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
On this deep dive into relationships.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoyed it.
I hope so too.
And that you learned a thing or two.
Yes.
Until next time.
See them then. You